Today, my name is C.H. Shankar, lecturer in zoology, Government Degree College for Women's, Karimnagar. Today, we have to discuss about aquaculture. Aquaculture is the rearing of aquatic organisms. The product of aquaculture is called aquafood. The aquaculture is a branch of fisheries. The aim of aquaculture is to produce blue revolution. So, by the blue revolution, Indian government developed this aquaculture. Especially in that aquaculture, we can rearing the fishes, prawns, crabs, and oysters, sea cucumbers, and squids, giant squids, and these are the main food habitats in India. Okay, so generally the aquaculture gives the more amount of foodstuffs to the growing population in India, especially the both and western and eastern coastal having the great potency for giving these production of these aquaculture systems. Okay, in fisheries, the types of fisheries refers to culture and capture of aquatic organisms for human welfare. World fisheries is of number of types. They are: first one is inland fisheries, second one is a marine fisheries, third one is coastal fisheries, fourth one is a metahaline fisheries. Okay, so these are the types of fisheries. First of all, inland fisheries, the lands where the present in the land, especially the water bodies present on the land, those are called inland fisheries. So in inland fisheries, number of lakes and ponds and streams are there to culture the fishes and rearing the prawns. So this is about inland fisheries. Okay, so in that inland fisheries, number of lakes are there, like Dal Lake in and Chilka Lake and Pulikat Lake and Anaimudi Lake, Sambar Lake. These are the different types of lakes, and number of streams are there, and rivers are there: Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Narmada, Tapati, and Krishna, and Penna, and different rivers are there, and the rivers where the Himalayan regions and hill rivers and hill streams are there. So these all are inland water bodies. By the inland water bodies, the more amount of fish production is there. Okay, here inland fisheries, the culture and capture of fishes in freshwater fisheries. In freshwater world fisheries, China ranks first. So the China ranks first. The other important countries involved inland fisheries are Southeast Asia, especially our countries, and North Europe, USA, Canada, Africa, South America, Norway, Sweden, Philippines. Okay, so inland fisheries consists of great river streams, lakes, ponds, dams, and canals, etc. So these are about inland fisheries. And second one is marine fisheries. The culture and capture of fishes in the sea called marine fishes. About 70% of the earth's surface is occupied by the sea. The marine fishing is chiefly confined to the continental shelf, which forms only 8% of the total marine water surface. So in about continental shelf, it is nothing but near to the seashore. So here the temperature is very high. So and the land and water both are present. That is the reason why here the production of fishes is very high. The marine catch includes herrings, mackerels, lobsters, crabs, cuttlefish, sharks, and tunas. These are the number of marine fishes. And here we had to collect a number of prawns also, and coastal fisheries. Okay, so next here the rearing the capture and aquatic organisms in brackish water is called coastal fisheries, nothing but is estuarine fisheries. The brackish water formation include estuaries, backwaters, lagoons. Generally, estuaries where the river entering into the sea, that is called estuary, and backwater. Sometimes the whenever the high tide is takes place in the sea, so the aquatic water and marine water encroached on the land. Sorry. So this is called backwaters and lagoons. So whenever the atolls and lagoons are takes place, especially atolls, the atolls are the exoskeletons of the ciliate organisms. In that atoll, the biodiversity is very high, so then only the fish production is very high. The fish production is very high. So this is about coastal fisheries. So in this fisheries area, the water salinity is changed according to the season. According to season, in summer season the water salinity is very high. In raining season the water salinity is very low. Why? Because the fresh water entering into the sea by the rivers and streams, etc. So next, fourth one is metahaline fisheries. The culture and capture of aquatic organisms in water containing high salt content is called metahaline fisheries. So generally, Arrhythmia salinea is an important organism cultured metahaline aquaculture. Okay, so this is the where the water salinity is greatly changed. So that area is called metahaline area. That is metahaline fisheries. Okay, and so second one is a freshwater fish culture. So here in this freshwater fish culture, generally in this the the rearing of aquatic organisms in freshwater is called freshwater aquaculture. It is also called inland aquaculture. So in freshwater, especially Indian major carps, exotic carps, tilapia, catfishes, air-breathing fishes are reared. So you know about Katla, Labio roita, and Channa punctatus, Tilapia mozambica. These are the different types of fishes rearing by these local fishermen. And in Indian dams also, like so Nagarjuna Sagar and different Hirakud Dam and Mettur Dam and Kaleshwaram Dam, which is present in newly formed state in Telangana, and a number of dams are there in India, northern and southern states. Okay, so here the greatest aquaculture systems are there. So first of all, for that we have to for freshwater fish culture, majorly two stages are there. First one is breeding, and second one is pond management. So in breeding, the brood fishes are used for the seed production. So the we are selecting the two or three fishes for brooding, and the brooders are collected from natural waters. So these are kept in haffa. Haffa is a special what haffa is a special structure which can hatching these breeders. So hatcheries are used for artificial breeding or induced breeding or hypophaciation by these three techniques. So we have to uh, perform breeding. So first hatcheries. So generally these hatcheries are either circular hatcheries and rectangular hatcheries are there. So in that hatcheries, and the rectangular hatcheries is made up of four sticks along with some canvas. So the canvas is have high porous, and these hatcheries placed in running water, especially streams and rivers. So this is about hatcheries, and we are using some artificial breeding whenever we are these breeders placed into these hatcheries, and whenever the in that hatcheries the FSH, follicle stimulating hormone levels are increased, then only the female can lay the eggs, and the male can producing the sperm. So this is about artificial breeding, and we are creating for that. And one more thing, sometimes we have to use ovafrim. It is a special chemical. By this chemical, where these male and females are stimulated and production of ovaries takes place. And one more thing here, the induced breeding or hypophaciation. So it is a special technique to produce the follicle stimulating hormone. So generally we have to select the breeders, and especially and collect these breeders, and we allow to rearing some extent, sometime extent, and After that we have to collect the hypophysis. That is nothing but pituitary gland. So we have to homogenate that pituitary gland and collect the supernatant. Supernatant having follicle stimulating hormone. So this follicle stimulating hormone inject into breeders, which one collecting from natural water bodies. So afterwards, the by the presence of follicle stimulating hormone in the hypophysation, so the male and female can produce the eggs. The male and female can producing the eggs. So this is about artificial induced breeding or hypophysation. The technique followed by artificial breeding: the pituitary extract containing gonadotropins like FSH and LH luteinizing hormone are injected to stimulate the brood fish. The chemical oophorin is also used in induced breeding. Oophorin is a synthetic analog for gonadotropin releasing agent and dopamine inhibitor. So Chinese circular hatchery is used for breeding. Chinese circular hatchery is used for breeding. And second one is fish pond management. Fish pond management. So the ponds are used in culture or nursery pond, rearing pond, and stocking ponds. Three types of ponds are there. So nursery pond and rearing pond and staking pond. Three types of ponds are there. The nursery pond fish spawn is grown for first 15 to 20 days until they reach 5 to 7 mm. So in nursery pond, the fishes up to 5 to centimeters length they grow in that pond. So rearing ponds are used for growth the spawn into fry. The fry length is 2 to 5 centimeters long. So and fingerling, so up to 4 to 5 centimeters long. Okay, this take 2 to 3 months. 2 to 3 months. The staking pond is used to produce the marketable fish from the fingerling. So this is a staking pond. So this takes 8 to 12 months. 8 to 12 months. The management methods in these ponds are represented as pre-stocking, stocking, and post-stocking methods. Okay, so pre-stocking, stocking, and post-stocking methods. So pre-stocking management involves drying pond and eradication of weed plants and weed fishes. So liming of pond. Okay, so next water storing and maintenance. So here, so pre-stocking pond means we have to prepare the pond for fish culture. First of all, we have to select the area, and that area must and should having some clay. So the area with the land with the porous, and the land with the sand, and the land with porous granule, so that is not suitable for culturing these fishes. So the area where which have clay, that is very suitable to fish culture. We have to select, and we have to remove the some amount of soil from that, and we have to dry that land, and we have to add some lime, and we have to separate the some weedy plants and weedy fishes. So we have to do deworming. We have to do deworming. And second one is staking management involves judicious combinations of species and their ratios according to the size of the pond. Okay, here this is about the stocking pond. And stocking pond management involve judicious combination of species and their ratios according to their size of pond. So in stocking pond, we have to maintain the polyculture and monoculture. So in polyculture, we have to use only single organism, and in monoculture we have to use in single organism. Polyculture we have to use 2 to 3 species, combination of species we have to rearing. And post stocking management is includes fertilization of pond water uh, and fertilization of pond water and supplementary feeding in to stock the fish and maintenance of optimum water parameters. So here, so in that post stocking management, so we have to add the food externally. We have to add the nitrogen fertilizers for algal growth, and we have to give the oxygen levels. We have to maintain the oxygen levels by the using of aerators, and we have to collect the diseased fishes and culling the diseased fishes, and we have to maintain the vaccination, and and all those things we have to maintain. So this is about pond management. This is about pond management. So here the especially in prawn culture, so generally we had to rearing the pond, especially prawns. Okay, so here in this prawn culture, some steps are there. First of all, collection of seeds and culture practices and feeding, fertilization, production, harvesting, marketing. So these all are steps are involved in this these um, especially prawn culture. First of all, seed collection. The larva, post larva, and juvenile or seed prawns are the seed prawns. These seed prawns are obtained by two methods. They are, so first of all, we have to collect the seed, generally either in the form of Naples, Metanaples. So these are the major juvenile, and the collection of seeds from wild. The prawn seeds can be collected from the estuaries and brackish water with the help of a fine meshed cloth bag with 2 meters long and 1 meter diameter. So we have to collect the seeds from wild, and collection of seeds from brood females. Okay, so the brood females carrying eggs and collected from the estuaries and brackish water. Here we have to collect the brood females, and a prawn may have 10,000 to 30,000 eggs. These such females are introduced into rectangular tank called larval tank containing 1% brackish water added to formalin. So the formalin may give some what is alcoholic effect on that some what we are calling anesthetic effect on that organisms. The females are kept here for 30 minutes. The eggs hatch out 4 to 5 days. After 3 days the hatching, 50% of the water is removed from the larval tank. The fresh water added, the tank well aerated. The tank is well aerated, and we have to use aerators for addition of oxygen to the water, and pH is maintained 7 to 8.5. The larvae are fed with napli of Artemia moina fish eggs, mixed fish, and chopped earthworms. So chopped earthworm means cutting of earthworms. So this is about collection of seed. And the second one is culture practices in this year. So pond culture and polyculture, intensive culture, continuous culture, and seaweed prawn culture, and integrated prawn culture, and pokali culture. So these all our cultures are there in the these prawn culture. Here first of all, pond culture. So generally so the rearing of freshwater ponds called pond culture. The ponds used for prawn culture called production of ponds. Production of ponds are small earthen ponds up to 0.2 to 1 hectare size. The quicklime is added at the rate of 1000 kilograms per hectare. The fresh water is supplied from irrigation canals or wells. The pH of water should be 7 to 8.5. Okay, so this is about pond culture. Here the prawn are fed with supplementary feeds such as rice, vegetables, animals, wastage, trash fish. The production of rate is 2 tons per hectare per 6 months. 2 tons hectare per 6 months. So polyculture. Polyculture is the culture of freshwater prawns with catla, rohu, grass carp, and silver carp, and milkfish, mullet, and tilapia. So the prawns are cultured with fishes, and the fecal matter of fish is a good source of food for prawns. So the fecal matter of fishes is a good source of food for prawns. In polyculture, the yield of prawn is less compared to finfish yield. Okay. So now intensive culture. The large quantities of prawns are produced in small areas. So the stocking is high density. So here we have to take all measures. And continuous culture. In continuous culture, the pond is used continuously for culturing for a period of 1 to 5 years. Harvesting is done continuously for every 4 to 9 months. The post larvae are added to the periodically after every harvesting. The post larvae are added to the periodically after every harvesting. So here the production is range 2000 to 4000 kilograms hectare per year. and sewage for prawn culture. Sometimes we have to use in sewage also. We have to cultured in some poor countries, and integrated prawn culture. The prawns are cultured with paddy and other fishes. It is integrated prawn culture. This type of situation takes place in especially in uh, China especially. And so now Pokali culture. The freshwater prawn can be cultured in Pokali paddy field of Kerala. So they are cultured after paddy harvest in the low saline period. Though after harvesting, prawns are stocked and reared for about 4 months with the supplementary feeding. So especially Pokali culture takes place in Kerala. So in that Kerala, the prawns and fishes are cultured along with the paddy field. So here the multiculture is takes place. And feeding. So freshwater prawns are omnivore. The feeds on living organisms, vegetable matters, dead organic matters, and debris. The African feeding artificial feed given in the form of trash, fish, mollusks, pig dung, and fruits and animal forms of wastes. Okay, next some fertilizers we have to add to this water for developing the growth of algae. So staking pond fertilized by organic manure and inorganic fertilizer, especially cow dung for 200 kilos per hectare, and super phosphate 25 kilograms per hectare. Okay, so now the production. The Microbrachium rosenbergi, Microbrachium malcolmsoni, these are the greater prawns. These prawns maximum length is 32 centimeters and weight is 200 grams. Okay, now the production of rate in pond culture is 4000 kilograms per hectare per year, and the production rate is polyculture is 0.5 tons per hectare and year. The continuous culture yields 2000 to 4000 um, kilograms per hectare per year. Okay, so this is about production. And harvesting done by pulling cyanate agent, sign nets. So the collection of prawns we have to buy the sign nets. These are the special nets. Okay, and marketing. Freshwater prawn can be harvested when the high demand, so they can be sold alive, they can be processed and stored here. So marketing is a very important thing here, and we have to remember it here. So where the fish pond culture, where the we have to um, prepare the lake of this pond, and that area mustn't be with electrified, and that area it is easy to very transport, and that area having above the water facilities also most important. And drainage is also most important for when we are releasing the wastewater and contaminated water. So we have to take all precautions when we are preparing these fish pond. And one more thing here, we have to sometimes maintain the cold storage for storing of our foodstuffs. And one more thing, we have to some maintaining ponds also there. Whenever the post stocking area, if the rate is very low, we have to maintain certain time. So that is also most important. And one more thing, if it is sometimes it is very expensive for these prawn farmers, that is the reason why they are collected, and they have to preserve, they have to preserve by especially post harvesting mechanism. By the post harvesting mechanism, they can preserve the prawns. So now these prawns are ready to export, these prawns are ready to export. So this is about prawn culture in India. And fishing crafts and gears, fishing crafts and gears. Okay, here so number of fishing gears are there. So generally these are called especially nets and hooks and lines. So generally the nets in earlier we have to use nets by the nylon nets, or the nets are made by making by this thread of cotton. So and in earlier we have to use hooks. By the hooks we can collect the prawns and fishes, and lines, these are the long fish collecting these. First one is the nets. The nets are major fishing gears, and it is web in which the twins are intersected into rectangular meshes. The net is hauled by rope and cables. The following important nets are there. Drip nets. First one, drip nets dip net or hand nets dipped in water, and fish collected inside the net and picked out. Okay, so different the Othal typical dip net used shallow ponds of Tamil Nadu, and here we are using in casting nets in Telangana, and some cast nets. Okay, the net is a circular net casted from shore from the small boat. It is also called throw net or a circular net. So this cone shaped net is strong warp and hauling line in the center. The perimeter has the series of sinkers. Okay, so now the third one is gill nets. So these nets are present, these gill nets are attached to the gills of the fish, and it is very useful to the fishermen. They are collecting the number of fishes by these gill nets. The gill nets are used to catch the fish by their gills. The net entangle the fish by their gills. The gill net consists of single webbed wall, and the nets also having rectangular in shapes. Okay, so hence the gill nets operated the night and yield more. The gill nets are operated inland water as well as ocean. In two areas the gill nets are used. Two areas gill nets are used. So second one is trawl nets. Trawl nets. Okay, these nets are dragging. These nets are dragging. These are drag nets. They are towed by one or two boats. One or two boats here. So here the different trawl nets are there. These are nets are done by these fishes and two boats, and we can collect the fishes. So the upper they are cone shaped. They are in cone shaped, and the cone shaped body has mouth and bag. So this one is a bag. Okay, so here the upper margin of the mouth lined float line, and the lower margin is foot rope. So the foot line containing floats and the rope containing sinkers. So here the sinkers are there. So upper line the floating areas. So below the wire foot, so this is mouth, the float line, so the wing, and these are the sinkers. Okay, this is about trawl net. So next second one the drag nets. So some drag nets are there. So these nets are dragged by the boats. Draggers are the nets dragged along the bottom of the catch shellfish. The dredge consists of mouth and holding bag. These holding bag constructed the metal rings or meshes. So next these are about drag nets and lift nets. The lift nets are largely sanitizer stationary installation situated along the shore, where the net is submerged for a short time in the water and lifted for catch. China Valai. So the common lift, it is used for Cochin in Kerala. Cochin in Kerala. Okay, so this is about different types of nets, and this one is under. So some Parso nets also is present. Some Parso sign. This one is a Parso sign. Okay, here so this Parso sign is this Danish sign surrounding net. It is used to catch the ground fish. It is similar to the beach sign, but operated by the bottom. And some beach the Parsu sign is the surrounding net, and the beach sign is the surrounding nets operated by the the sign nets are three types: beach sign and Danish sign and Parsu sign. Okay, and some trap nets and hooks and lines. So different types of hooks and lines are there. So this is about these are the hooks, and in traditionally they are preparing especially so the hooks by the hooks whenever the running water takes place, the fishing is going on. Capturing fishing is going on, and now the fishing different types of fishing gears are here. So this one is cast net. These are the cast nets. Okay, the best bluester, and this about seawood and home, the barrel line, and the leads. So the lead line. Okay, this is about handle air. This is about different casting nets, different cast nets. Okay, next one is So these are the different types of gill nets. These are the different types of gill nets. So the gill nets are where we are attached to the near to the shore. So next we have to make two digs, two poles, and we have to tie with these two poles, and above region the what is the floating boxes are there, and below the sinkers are there, which is made up of iron. So this is about China fishing gill net, and these are the different types of gill nets, and these are used in our in India. Okay, these are the different types of nets. Okay, now this is also one type of net, and next we have to use fishing fishing crafts fishing crafts. Okay, so in earlier generally we have to use number of fish boats, especially first of all fishing crafts. All the vessels used for catching and the transport of fish are referred to as fishing craft. All the vessels used for catching and transport of fish are referred to as fishing craft. The following types of crafts are used by the fishermen for capture of fishes in marine and large inland water bodies. Non-mechanized fishing crafts, and second one is mechanized fishing crafts. Mechanized fishing craft. Okay, first one, non-mechanized fishing crafts. So the coastal fishermen use to following types of traditional um, uh, and artisanal fishing is for fishing is near coastal vias, near coastal waters. Sign Since the craft is operated by rowing with oars or with the addition of sail, fishermen operate in shore regions. Especially these are nothing but man-made catamarans and dugout canoe and plank-built boats. Plant-built boats. So these are the non-mechanized fishing crafts. So catamarans, they are the traditional simple fishing crafts used by the fishermen in coastal water. So each catamaran is formed by the addition of joining logs of wood together with rope. The stern portion of the catamaran is blunt, while the bow portion in the front end of the craft is curved and slightly above the water. There are two types of catamarans, 3 lag and 4 lag, measured 10 to 25 feet in length. The fishermen row this craft by operating the oars and reach the fishing areas. These crafts are used to operate monofilament gill nets and 12 to 50 cast nets and hooks and line. So these crafts are mostly operated along south and west coast along the Indian peninsular region. The catamarans are operated mostly along east coast of India, along Coromandel coast. The boat the boat catamaran is Coromandel coast has three logs held together by a transfer shock block of wood with which the logs are tied by the ropes. Along the west coast of India, the catamaran is used by the fishermen between Cape Cayman and Trivandrum. The boat catamaran is a larger raft for 4 to 5 logs tied together to ropes. The catamarans are nothing but putties, and dugout canoe. These are small boats like argon. This is a simple type of fishing craft of fishing in a near coastal water made by the scooping logs of wood in the form of boat. It is looks like boat. Small size dugout canoe less than 18 feet in length is used to operate the gill nets. 12 to 40 gill nets are used by these dugout canoe, the cast nets and hooks and lines. Okay, this is about dugout canoe, and this is about here where the fishings are present. Okay, so now mm, okay, this is about catamaran. So this is about canoe, dugout canoe, and this is masula boat. Masula boat. So these are the boats so which are used in this um, especially fishing crafts. And one more thing, the mechanical fishing crafts are there, mechanical fishing boats. So generally the mechanical boats are large sized boats, and they have to maintain the catamaran, dugouts, canoe, plant build blanks. And here, so the mechanized fishing crafts. So present day these are the large boats which is used for uh, this fishing. Okay, different types of boats are there. Okay, different types of boats are there here. So these boats are where to build some missions, then only where to use. So by the present electrical fishing, by the electrical fishing and satellite fishing, we have to use presence in where the fishes are there. So in that area we have to go and collect the fishes. So first small sized crafts with outboard engines, and large sized crafts with outboard engines, and mechanized fishing craft. So first one is outboard engines, catamaran, dugout canoe, plank build boats. These all are having outboard engines, nothing but steamers. So these are small in size, and they are using for fishing and uh, capturing the fishes. So generally so the catamaran are used for capturing the sharks and sea fish, the small size of sharks and sea fish like dogfish. And dugout canoe, so this is powered by 2.29 horsepower outboard engine. So fishes like sardinias and sharks and sea fishes and mackerels and shrimps are captured by these dugout canoe. And plank built boats, these boats are propelled by 8 to 15 horsepower outboard engine, some more large. So they are used in operation. Large meshed gill nets and mini trawl nets are used in this plank built boats. And large sized craft outboard engines, plank built canoe. Okay, so these are plank built canoe measuring 25 to 70 feet overall length, with multiple outboard motor, 34.9 near 35 to 120 horsepower engines. And they are mainly used for operation the ring sign nets in the coastal water. So for capturing the coastal water, we have to use plank built canoes. And beach landing craft. Okay, so these are the some more high power boats. These are mostly designed for carrying out fishing operation in the inshore areas. They are mainly capture high value fish like sharks and seals. So these boats supplied by the government to the fishermen under various schemes. And mechanized fishing crafts. So first one is trawlers and pursuers and pole line fishing crafts and doll netters. Okay, so first one, trawlers are fishing vessels 9.6 to 40 meters long with a inboard engine, and they are utilized for the operation of fishing nets, the trawl nets. The mechanical winches are used for hauling the trawl nets after operation. Okay, this is about trawlers. And pursuer, these are the boats 11.5 to 15 meters length, and used for operating pursuer nets. They are operated off shore areas. And pole and line fishing crafts. Pole and line fishing are operated on the capture of tuna fish. The boat at the stern, it is provided with 3.3 to 4.2 meters long poles with 3 meters long lines. The barbells hooks are attached for this capture of fish. The prior to fishing, the live baits are collected and kept alive in a bait as well as the craft. Once tuna shoals are signed, the live baits are thrown into water to attack the shoals of feeding. The lines with the barbells hooks are dropped into the shoal. The fish is captured. So this type of fishing. And all netters, these fishes crafts is specially used for operation of Dal net along the northwest coast of India. The catches including Bombay duck, catfish, ribbonfish, and cuplides. Okay, this is about um, fishing. And one more thing here we have to discuss about what is these are the different fishing crafts and next here we have to discuss about electric fishing. Generally the electrodes are uh, uh, exposed into water that electrodes are having some amount of energy. So for that energy the fishes are attracted, so the attracted fishes are captured by the fishermen, so that is called electric fishing. And satellite fishing, so this is one type of fishing. So in that fishing we have to use satellite, so where the fishes are present, so and where we are, so where the fishes are present, where the fishermen are present in particular meridian, the more amount of fishes are there. So by the using of satellite they have to recognize the fish position and moves towards that meridian area, and then only they have to capture the fisher. So this is advanced fishing, this is advanced fishing. So by this advanced fishing, so we have to save the money and save the labor and save the diesel or petrol, whatever it may be. So this is satellite fishing. So by the satellite fishing we have to collect the number of fishes, and here we have to remember it, the fishing, the importance of fishing. So the over hunting of fishing, especially the gangetic dolphins are undergoing extinct condition, and number of fish species also undergoing extinct condition. So that is the reason why, so we have to maintain some rules and regulations to maintain the proper fish populations in the areas. And one more thing, the Indian government also providing some what is fertilizers and pesticides to the fishermen to maintain these aquatic water bodies. And one more thing here, we have to maintain the sea and marine water, we have to preventing from the pollution. But the man-made pollution is done by man-made pollution is done, and industrial pollution is also takes place. So these are the severe effects on the culturing of the fishes. So that is the reason why the fish culture is very problematic to us as present days. Sometimes the number of industrial and pollutant diseases are takes place. If the industrialization is takes place, the carbon dioxide levels are very high. So if the carbon dioxide levels are very high, the water pH is decreased. So that greatly affect to the fishes, which is growing fishes, especially larvas. And one more thing here we have to remember it, generally in fishing, um, some disease like epizoic ulceratic syndrome and different symptoms are there, takes place in Andhra Pradesh coastline culture. So the Supreme Court make a guidelines to stop the uh, prawn culture in near to the lakes, stop the prawn culture near to the lakes. So according to Indian Water Bodies Pollution Act, so we have to release the water, we have to take some proper steps to reduce the pollutions. So these are the major suggestions by the Supreme Court. And one more thing here we have to discuss about the aquaculture is a very suitable culture. It will give the employment potential, it will give the foodstuffs to the poor people, and it is one of the major food items. And in this aquaculture we have to rear the fishes, we have to rearing the prawns, we have to rearing the crabs, we have to rearing the sea cucumbers, and we have to rear the all aquatic organisms. Even though we can culture the pearl oysters also we can culture. By that we can producing the pearls. Okay, so this is about aquaculture which is present in India. So not only India, in aquatic culture, the Japan and China has a major role as a major role in India. The western coast having more amount of fishes. Why? Because the hot water current coming from equator, that is the reason why the algal growth is very high. So then only, when only the algal growth is very high, the more amount of fishes are present. So more amount of fishes are we are captured. So this is about so what is aquatic culture, aquaculture in India.